Hello and welcome to Talking Good Game. It's the match preview of Arsenal against West Ham United. Well, we're going to be feeling a little bit more upbeat after that win against Southampton. Well, I will be, but I have a broken foot. Gonzo, how are you?
I'm not quite broken, but thank you. Yeah, it's not broken, but there's a lot of damage down there. It's the last couple of days back and forth to the hospital. I'm all right. Don't worry about me. I can still predict West Ham to lose against Arsenal. Don't you worry about that. Whoops, am I giving it away?
Right, well, we'll get on to it in a second. Since it's the start of the month, we're going to keep promoting our Patreon for another couple of days. The link is in the description below if you wish to sponsor this channel from as little as $3.50 per month. Click it, have a look, see what perks you get, which includes player previews, player ratings, for the Arsenal game on Saturday. So who'll be getting 8s and 9s? Don't know, we'll find out Saturday, won't we? But what do you think of our opponents, Gonzo, Arsenal? What's your thoughts on the Gunners?
Right, okay, I'm not going to lie. I've not seen an awful lot of them play since we last played them. Now, obviously, they have had a massive amount of upheaval, and they've got a new manager in there. And a new manager comes with a philosophy, comes with an ethos, and he was somebody that was very, very highly regarded by Pep Guardiola. And lots of other people in the game as well. There's no way that they wanted to lose him. That's for sure. Manchester City. He's come in, and I think he had a big reputation, and he's clearly trying to get them playing in a little way. But I can't help but think when I look at them, that there's still some disgruntlement with the fans. And I don't think Emery was a bad manager. And I'm sure Emery will go somewhere else and do very well. And I'm sure a lot of you almost feel that it's a hard environment for anybody to thrive in. Now, it's going to take him a little while to get everything just how he wants it. I mean, there was a massive worry for years, well, certainly since Kroenke wrestled the majority of shares and Usmanov couldn't get the power that he really wanted there. I think there was a worry that he was just going to provide them with a bare minimum, that he wasn't really going to fund them properly. But I think the moment you go and spend 70 million on a winger, as they did in the summer, I think clearly they were just suggesting they were skint, but actually there was money to spend there. So I don't think you're going to see the best of Arteta until he gets his players in. And in many respects, they're still reliant on a couple of the players that Arsene Wenger bought. So not the progress that the Arsenal fans would have wanted, certainly.
Yeah, I've watched a bit of them. I think their results suggest they're doing better than they are under Arteta. They're on paper, what they've done since in 2020, since the turn of the new year, has been very good. Only one defeat on there, and that was an extra time against Olympiacos week past. I've watched some of their games, and I thought they've been fortunate. Perhaps the prime example is at home to Everton last week. You know, they won 3-2, but I thought it was a very open game. I thought they were perhaps lucky to come out of that, and a better side than Everton might have got something from that game. But I think you can. I think Arteta has more of a game plan than Emery. Emery used to watch Arsenal. He used to think, what is he trying to do here? What is Emery trying to get these players to do? And I was never overly convinced. With Arteta, you can see it is a bit Man City-esque, but that's naturally going to happen in anything. That's probably what Arsenal fans might want to see. And with the players he's got there, they're capable of playing it. He's got good players at his disposal. It's good to see him sticking with the younger players, though. I think they've got a small generation of good young talent come through at the minute, Arsenal. I think they've got a good manager there to see them, guide them into that first team and let them stay in the first team as well. But this is going to be it's a funny period. They need success, Arsenal. They need instant success. I'm not sure if they're good enough to go get that yet. Next season, I don't know. Well, what do you think, though? Arteta's start, are you impressed by Arteta's start, although you haven't seen too much of them, or is it what you expected?
I think I'd be blagging it too much, Geo, if I tried to say that. I mean, the big one's going out to Olympiacos, of course. That's going to be a slap in the face for anybody. But I'm not going to pretend otherwise. Arteta was somebody that I mentioned before that I would like to have seen West Ham come in. Realistically, I said to you, I think I mentioned it a couple of years ago. I said we have one chance.
Yeah.
The moment before he makes his name, I think that chance had passed by the time, because I think it was us, Everton, and Arsenal, would be fair to say, we're all looking for managers at the same time. But when you look at us and you look at our lack of an infrastructure in terms of the scouting and so on and so forth, we actually were never going to get him this time, because say what you want about Arsenal, you're quite right. They do have quite a good number of youth players representative at the England underage groups and whatnot. So I don't know. As I say, Olympiacos is a big one. Clearly, I listened to what some of the fans say on the radio. I think they like the style of football a little bit more. He's clearly trying to do something. I think they were worried when he put Aubameyang wide a few times, but he seems to be able to impact the game from the wide position in the same way that Thierry Henry was doing. So who knows? Let's see if he gets he needs a full season, needs a pre-season, needs to get probably more of his people in there and start to mould the club more to. It's funny actually. Wenger got a lot of stick for this, didn't he? Because Wenger was hugely powerful at the club, wasn't he? But I think they've got Edu there, who's director of football at Arsenal now. So I think if he can work with a director of football and start implementing some infrastructure around the club, I'm sure he'll do a decent job. But there's a lot more competition now. When Arsene Wenger left, or when he was getting a little bit rubbish, Leicester weren't the force that they were, and you didn't have Wolves. And it's the top four is not a given for. Well, it probably is for two teams, but for all the rest, they're going to have to battle it out. And Arsenal are going to be one of those in the future, battling it out for top four.
Do you think they can succeed for top four next season? Currently, I think they're 8 points off the top four as it stands, but they're only a handful of points away from seventh, which currently, depending on City's appeal, is the Europa League spot. And they're still in the FA Cup, so they're in the FA Cup quarterfinals as well. So you could perhaps get a little bit of silverware this season. But do you think next season the aim for Arsenal has to be breaking back into that top four?
Yes, and don't forget they won't have had the start that they had this season, so he won't be playing catch up. So I don't see why not. And you make a great point about City. There'll be one more available place, won't there?
Yeah, indeed. I think Arteta will do all right there. Like you said, he needs to get his own players in. I think centre back needs looking at massively at that club. Their defence is just. There's too many injuries. Tierney's been injured too often. Bellerin's back now, but the centre midfield, he needs to work out what he wants to do there. Guendouzi seems to have been a bit troublesome under Arteta. Perhaps he was left out, and he alluded to that the people that do well in training will play, and Guendouzi was the one that was missing, so it's a case of, maybe it's him that's been the naughty boy. Xhaka looks like a completely different player under Arteta. I've been impressed by him the most. But speaking of players, which players do you admire from Arsenal?
Well, no, I didn't. Did we have Alan on? We had Alan from Betway on for the previous Arsenal game.
Yeah, did, yes.
I mentioned Torreira, and he didn't seem that impressed. I just like him, but as I understand it, he's not available for this game.
He got injured against Portsmouth on Monday. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the type of player that could cause our midfield problems. So him being out, he's a high energy player as well. So I think that does us a favour. That's really good. Clearly, Aubameyang is considerably their best player by a country mile. Because I haven't seen him, I don't know what Bepe's been doing. But when we played him, it looked like he'd been troubled up to that point. Lo and behold, as often happens when you play West Ham, he suddenly looked like Lionel Messi, didn't he? When they played us, he looked really good. So I don't know if he features. There's a young winger. I can't think of his name. He maybe begins with S. Don't know.
I know who you're going to say. Saka.
Yeah, it looks good. He looks a good player, right? He doesn't look bad at all. I think there was a few of them maybe moaning when they got rid of Iwobi to Everton. But to get 40 million for Iwobi and then see this kid coming through, you think, okay, well, that's good business, isn't it? I know David Luiz is struggling, which should hopefully help us. And they've got a young striker, I think, in the preview. Got an Italian-sounding name?
They've got two. They've got Martinelli and Nikita.
That one. Yeah, he looks really good. I know you like him as well. So, they've got some good players, but they've only got one world class player, and that's probably not enough at the moment for them to get to where they want to get to.
Yeah, Aubameyang is world class, and it's easy to see him. I think Ozil's looked pretty decent under Arteta as well. I think he's this is almost like his third calling at Arsenal, though, at least seems to fall out of favour with every manager. But he's doing well. Saka's the one that's impressed me the most out possibly the whole league this season. Whenever I watch Saka, he's been playing left back for Arsenal, but I do generally think he's got a chance of getting in the Euros squad for me for England. I struggle to think of a better left back at the minute that's English than him. I know people say Chilwell, but I think he's gone off the boil. I think Saka is just been fantastic. Whenever I watch him, he's so composed, getting forward, he's just brilliant at that, and defensively he's pretty switched on as well. Martinelli I like, but Nikita's come back from Leeds and he's been scoring for them as well, so there's a good chance Arteta's going to bench Lacazette on Saturday and keep Nikita in there, so that'd be a big call from the manager there, but possibly the right one. We'll find out. But time to talk about our team, West Ham United. Team news, there's nothing really. Yarmolenko's close to a return and could be back next weekend against Wolves. Souček is apparently ahead of his comeback, and he also might have a small chance of coming back against Wolves, although I can't see it myself. Jack Wilshere's back in light training. I don't know what that means. I think that means he can walk. I'm not sure. But is this as easy as it gets for the preview? You know, they say, what do you want to see? I mean, same 11?
Well, you have to. But I think there's only one, and I don't think it is a decision. I think you keep the same 11.
Yes.
But the discussion was, I don't want to see Zabaleta unless absolutely, the worst, all the worst there, with complete capitulation. I don't particularly want to see Zabaleta play again unless, whatever, we're safe during the last game and he comes on for the last 10 minutes. And so the Fredericks is out for the rest of the season, it looks like. So you're looking at Ngakia or Ben Johnson is back. Now, Ben Johnson has played for the under-23s, captain the under-23s, and played really well. The thing to remember about Ben Johnson is a man, is a grown man. He's a big, strong young man. He really is, and probably more physically suited to Premier League football. And I was watching. I didn't have a chat. I was watching a couple of people talking about it on the forum, and they were suggesting that Ben Johnson comes back in. And the argument was, well, hold on, you can't kick Ngakia out the spot, and just to bring someone in more experienced. Because I looked at it, he's not more experienced. I think Ben Johnson has possibly played 2 Premier League games for us. I might be wrong, but I'm not going to find out I'm wrong and it's 10. If I'm wrong, it will be 3. I think he's played 2 Premier League games for us, possibly both against Manchester City. Not entirely sure on that. But Ngakia's, there is no more experience anymore. And bearing that in mind, I think you've got to stick with the kid, because we're going to, with every game, he will continue to get better. And I think we owe it to him to see how good he can become without disrupting him. I don't think it'd be very good for his confidence to drop him, to put Ben Johnson in. It's no more experienced, although he might be that little bit older. So I keep it the same, Gio.
Yeah, I think Ngakia's shirt ain't up for grabs still, is it? Do you know, if he had had a dodgy game, then yeah, for sure. But he didn't. He done really well against Southampton as well. So his position isn't there. You can't get it. You have to wait until he plays poorly or he gets injured. It's one of the two. Until that happens, it's his now. It's his shirt. I think you keep it the same. I think it's easy for Moyes this weekend. Do you think he will keep it the same? We don't often predict what Moyes is going to do, but for the sake of the preview, because our what we want to see is over and done with after 30 seconds. But predict Moyes, because going to the Emirates, does he see the Emirates as somewhere he can go and attack like he did against Southampton last weekend?
I think you have to. I think he has to. It'd be really weird if he didn't. Would I put any money on it? I wouldn't put any money on it. No, it's. If we sit in here doing... When is the game? Saturday?
Yeah, it's Saturday, 3 p.m, yeah.
3 p.m, okay. So if we're sat here at 2 o'clock doing our pre-match build-up, and then you read out the team and it's 3 at the back, I won't be surprised. I wouldn't put any money on it. But he really shouldn't do it. It should have taught him all he needs to know. And obviously Arsenal aren't as good as Liverpool, clearly. So we should fear nobody in that sense. In many respects, we gave Watford a bit of a blueprint to go and... Or at least showed that Liverpool... have a little soft underbelly, maybe. So they're to be got at. They're not They're not invincible, and clearly Arsenal will be favourites, and rightly so. They're better. They're better than us. They absolutely are. But if we play well, and Louise a little bit dodgy, and Arteta doesn't get it quite right, they're there to be got at, and we won't get at them if we play three at the back. He has to play exactly the same formation.
My only worry is he might try and put Snodgrass back in, just for the workmanship of it and the defensive side of things. Almost, I think it's then a question of who does he take out, and it's a very tough one because you've got four options essentially, don't you? You've got Fornals, Antonio, Bowen, and Allaire, and how do you drop one of them after the weekend we've just had? I wonder if he's looking at Ngakia thinking this boy needs protection against Arsenal, because Saka is very offensive from that left back row. Ngakia's immediate opponent is going to be Aubameyang. Now, while he coped against Mane, I do think Aubameyang's perhaps more direct. He's more likely to hit it past you and run past you kind of thing and say, right, let's go toe-to-toe. I think Mane's more the 1-2 kind of striker that he'll cut inside a bit more, whereas I think Aubameyang's happy to go down the touchline against you. And Saka's a big... it's a big problem for Bowen, actually. Will Bowen track back enough? I think that's his big question. Will Bowen put in the hard yards, get back and help him out? From what this small cameo we saw against City, we'd have to say yes, he will. But it's a big ask, and it's I think it's going to be a real test of Moyes' trust in Bowen, and because we know he trusts Snodgrass and we know he likes Robert Snodgrass, and I'm still surprised he left Snodgrass out against Southampton, because I thought that was one of his sort of, you put Snodgrass in, you know he's going to do your job, don't have to worry about him a little bit, and I guess the balance of how much risk is he willing to take at the Emirates, and if he is up for the risk, it's going to be 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1, however you want to look at it. It's going to be the same formation, but if he wants to play a little bit safer, I think Robert Snodgrass is his little bit safer. I don't think it'll be three at the back. I think it'll be Snodgrass coming in somehow. Is there any concerns for you ahead of this game, whether you're looking at their team or our team?
There wasn't until you just said all that, and you have to give Moyes credit, I think, in the first game. That is an inexperienced right-hand side he put out. I gave it too much thought at the weekend. But yeah, Bowen there and Ngakia. But I did think he protected him. I did think he had the work rate. You do lose something, though. And I've not quite been able to shift it. A lot of people, and everyone reads the game differently, a lot of people have been going on about the front two of Haller and Antonio, and I didn't see it like that. I saw it as Antonio wide, Haller central, and then Bowen wide as well. And I thought the key to it wasn't that he only had Antonio near him. The key was he had two players near him. That's what it looked like to me, and he did get and join in. And I think if you bring Snodgrass in, yes, he will probably protect the fullback, but he won't do it as quickly. But he won't get as close to the other guys. Can Snodgrass provide assists? We know he can, but he's a dead ball assist, or it's a cross from very wide. He's not going to move into the centre forward position, which is something both Bowen and Antonio will do during the game. They will both find themselves central. So that is a bit of a worry, that right hand side, though, particularly the way you describe Aubameyang. You're absolutely right, but that is also something for Diop to worry about as well, because he will try and play in between the gap between Ngakia and Diop, of course.
Yeah, I saw it as a front two, to be fair, with Allaire and Antonio. Yeah, I saw it as a front two, and Fornals left, Bowen right. It's just that Bowen cuts in a lot. He did it at Hull. I think Bowen was maybe playing it as a 4. If I saw it as a 4-4-2, I almost saw Bowen playing, when we went forward, Bowen almost was a front three kind of position, get inside and get close to Allaire. However, when we lose possession, you get your arse back into that right midfield position. And I thought Snodgrass was asked to do a similar task at Man City away. He almost was close to Allaire, but when we conceded possession, he had to get all the way back out and chase Mendy about. But I saw it as a front two, and I hope it was, and I hope it is, because I fancy us to get a David Luiz on Saturday. You know, I think Allaire is better than him in the air. And I think he doesn't like it. I don't think Luiz likes it when an opponent's better than him. I think loses his head too often. He's too erratic, Louise. If someone starts roughing him up a little bit, I think he's likely to kick back at you. He's got a bit of the Otamendi's got the same thing at Man City. He don't like it when someone's getting the better of him. Rather than, Van Dijk's calm, composed, and thinks, okay, I've lost that battle, win the next one. Louise is like, well, if I lose the next one, I'm just going to go through you. Yeah, you're just taking a piss here. You're not allowed to do that. And I think on the floor, Antonio's faster than him. So whoever he comes up against out of our front two, I think he's in trouble. Providing we play the adequate way. I don't want to see us trying to play Allaire in behind Louise. Louise will win that one, but give it to him in the air. He'll be alright. Allaire won the ball 14 times in the air against Southampton. I think he's won it 190 times this season. It's more than PSG's squad.
He's dominant. Yeah, he's dominant. Yeah.
Let's put him up against David Luiz and say, here you go, mate. What are you going to do about it? And the reason I say Luiz is because he plays left centre back, and that's Bowen's side as well as Antonio. So he's almost got those two close to him. You put him up against Mustafi or Socrates, whoever it is on the right centre back. He's then got Fornals there, not quite as quick, not quite as willing to run in behind. So I'd like to see him on Arsenal's left side up against David Luiz. Immediate opponents. Let's go. Let's battle it in there. Are you confident for this one?
I'm hopeful though. Not confident, but hopeful. Certainly, I think. I think hopeful's a good thing. I think any time you can go into a game hopeful, that's fine. Away to a big team, I still think they're, in many respects, they could do with a little protest themselves, because that's quite a quiet stadium. Obviously, it's a very quiet that one and Manchester United have really quiet stadiums to go and visit, and ours was a little bit louder. So I think if you can go there, you keep the crowd quiet, which is not difficult there. Our away fans will be loud as always. Yeah, I do actually fancy it. I'm quite looking forward to it actually.
I think we're going to score. I'm quite confident we're going to score. I think we'll concede as well though. So it should be an entertaining game. I'm hopeful as well. I'm hopeful if we played the same team and in the same way as we did against Southampton and Liverpool, because I'm happy with how we played against Liverpool. We repeat that for this one. I think we'll come up. I think we've got a chance of coming away with something. A draw is a very good result at the Emirates. I know it's not the place it used to be. Away to Arsenal isn't the old away to Arsenal, but it's still a damn good point, especially when you're in the situation that we're in. So with all that said and done, can I get your final words on the game if you have any, as well as your score prediction, please?
Our final words? Go for it. He who dares wins, Rodders, and all that. Fortune favours the brave. Don't do the three at the back. Go for it. Cause them problems. Clearly they have players that can cause us problems. And what did we have? We had 34% possession against Southampton. Clearly we're not.
It didn't feel like that.
No, it didn't. But clearly we're not there to dominate the play. We're there to attack quickly. So, and this, Gio, I've been saying this for years. I don't have a problem in attacking in 4 or 5 passes, quick, bang, 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 bang. Don't have a problem with it at all. I don't like hoofball, I was playing like Tony Pulis. But that I don't have a problem with. So you're going to have less possession if you take less time on a build-up. I think you should take less time on a build-up. They won't. It'll be the opposite to what they play. So I think as long as we show ambition, but within our counter-attack at pace, play the same formation, we can go there. And I am going to predict a draw on this one. I think a high-scoring draw, as you suggested, goals all round. Your old favourite scoreline, my friend, a 2-2.
Yeah, I'm going to go for 2-2 as well, actually. I think it'll be a damn good game. And if we can be brave, that's what I want to see. I want to see bravery, no fear. I can accept being defensively, what do you want to call it? I can accept defending deep, I can accept defending in numbers when we have to, providing that when we get the ball and we get possession, we try and attack, we attack with some sort of numbers, with enough intent to try and cause them problems. We had 4 attackers on the pitch against Southampton. I liked it. I liked what I saw. I enjoyed it. We posed a threat every time we crossed the halfway line. We looked like we were going to create something, and that's what I want to see at the Emirates. I want to see us giving their defence, which is a shaky defence. That is a vulnerable defence there. I want to see us giving them something to worry about, something to think about. And I want David Luiz going off that pitch, absolutely battered by Sebastian Haller and Mikel Antonio, thinking I don't want to play them again anytime soon, to give us confidence going into next week against Wolves. We're going to need some. If this was Wolves, let me just say this, if this was Wolves we were playing Saturday, I'd predict a defeat. Even if it is our own place, I would predict a defeat. But if we can get something like them, it's put in another good performance, it just gives us that little bit of hope that we can then get something against Wolves the following weekend as well. It's a domino effect, isn't it? So 2-2 for me, 2-2 for you. Now, what I will say is I don't like referring to a live chat in the previews to keep it fluent, but what I will say is Mike, Mark, Oi, they're all saying 2-2 as well. There's a lot of 2-2s going on in the live chat as well. So you guys at home, let us know what you think in the comments. What lineup do you want to see? Are you hoping Moyes sticks with what he did against Southampton? And give us your score prediction as well. It'll be interesting to see if there's any more 2-alls. Myself and Gonzo will be back just before 2 PM, just shy of 2 PM on Saturday, and getting ready for the lineups to come out. We'll be having a look at might take a quick glance at the other Premier League fixtures, because while we shouldn't be relying on the other Premier League fixtures and results going our way, we are. So we'll be having a little glance at them, as well as lineups when they come out, and then we'll be doing the review straight after. And following that, we'll be doing our player ratings from the game for our patrons. What patrons? The link is in the description below. I think I mentioned at the start. Go have a little look, and we'll catch you on Saturday. Cheers for joining us.